Welcome to Getting Home Sourced with G. Your one-stop shop for all things real estate. Gianno is your go-to guy with over 25 years of experience in the game, serving up the insider scoop on buying, selling, and investing in two of the hottest markets, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Cabo, Mexico. Whether you're looking to score the perfect home, seal the deal on a sale, or dive into the world of international investments, G's got the tips, tricks, and swagger to make it happen. Remember, in Nevada, the smart choice is the right choice. And when it comes to Cabo, you better go oceanside with Cabo G. If you were looking for a quiet, tranquil show about real estate, this ain't it. Gianno has this thing called passion. Let's unleash the beast. This is Welcome to Getting Home Sourced. And now your host, Gianno.
Hey, what do you say? We got another rockin' show coming straight at you here today. As, of course, I want to welcome everybody that's listening around the world. So let's say it together. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are. This is Getting Home Source with G, as I'm your host, Gianno, of course. And just want to welcome everybody. And as I always like to start out with my show for my newbies, my first timers, thank you so much for listening. I greatly appreciate you, and whoever told you about the show, thank them for me, give them a hug, okay? Or give them a kiss, whatever you want to do. It's on me, so don't worry about it. And for my repeat offenders, you know I love you. You know you make the show run. And as I always like to say, as a Ferrari comparison, of course being Italian, you make the engine drive. I just get it in the car. We're riding off together every week. So thank you that. I greatly appreciate it. And for those listening for the first time or just need a refresher and reminder course, you can always contact me. Toll-free number for my international friends, 888-528-2810. And for my domestic, just put in a 702, same number, and you're ready to go. Also, don't forget to check out my newsletter. Just sent one out, so in case you want one, go to vegashomesource.com. Check in, sign up for the newsletter. You get the information there. And also you could check out to see what's going on both in Las Vegas in the U.S. and in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, right? So you're going to go in there. You're going to get the free MLS access. You're going to do searches. You're going to check out properties, see what's going on. You're going to love it. We got a lot of good stuff going on also with my concierge services that we've launched now about a month ago. So we got that in the mix. So I want everybody to check that out because we are just growing, catering to everybody's wants and needs, because we always talked about that before in past shows. What's more important, want and need? Well, we cater to both, right? So we don't want to leave anybody out. So please check out the website, sign up for the newsletter, get involved, get engaged, contact me, reach out to me. You have my assistant, Miss G, she'll take care of you. You can reach out to me direct or email me, whatever you want to do. I'm here for you. We have the tools to make everybody happy and successful, and that's what it's all about. But in this show today, we're going to do a little bit of a play on words here, because the title of what we're doing this show is, Are You Customized Yet? Well, how do I say customized? Because we're customizing customs, right? Because there's two types of customs. Check it into airport customs, but also customs of different cultures, different backgrounds. And I want to do a deep dive on that, because how that pertains to real estate and how life is real estate. And you're going to see how I bring that together. So, but we are customizing our customs here on the show. And as if you ever wondered how long it takes to get through an airport, right, in a city, going through what? Customs, okay? Because it's what that particular country, that particular airport, that particular city, what their requirements are of you to be accepted and welcomed into their country, right? So we have that type of customs. But did you know that 35% of people do not use search engines anymore, and that 65% of people are now using Chat GPT for their
Whoa.
information inquiries. And lastly, do you know that the certain customs of different countries when doing business as what the do's and don'ts are per se? Well, this is what we're going to be jumping into, right? So I want to be really, really engaged. This is going to be more of a philosophical, more thought provoking show. So I hope that if that's something that kind of juggles the brain and juggles the mind and gets things, we want to be thinking, we want to be free thinkers. We want to be able to kind of accept, understand, bring in the information. So this way we know how to better grow, personal self-awareness. And that to me is important because that's how I grow as a entrepreneur and also as a person, especially in real estate, which is what relationship business, which we're going to also talk about that as well. So, but it also is very important to respect, acknowledge, and understand people customs, right? Because again, real estate to me is a relationship industry. To others, it could be something else, but at least to me, it's a relationship industry. And if other people that are in my profession don't think so, well, I think they better go get checked out. I don't know. But if we're not informing, and I hate to say educating, because we talked about this before, but in this particular aspect, we're going to just say educating, informing, right, ourselves, then it's a disservice to who? Not only to me, but it's to all parties involved in communication as well as relationships break down. So, what do we do? Well, let's go through some data because I really did some research on this, and I'm going to show you why I kind of pull that all in together on the second half of the show. But so, roughly in the world, we have about 8 billion people, right? And so, in the United States, we have approximately 345 million people, which is about what, 4.5% of the world population. That means 95% of the rest of the world make up the population, which is crazy. Okay. So, yet, if you're in the United States, and as well as Liberia and Myanmar, if I said that right, if I didn't apologize, we'll try it again. Myanmar, these three countries do not use the metric system, but the rest of the world does. Why do I say this? Because Americans need to be, I think it's a requirement, but they need to be told, they need to be shown, they need to be learning this and to understand, again, acknowledge and learn how other countries operate and function. Because here in the US, it's like, hey, we don't use the metric system, but if you come into our territory, this is how you're going to do things because we don't have time to learn, acknowledge, and accept others, which is a no. And I think we should be entitled to understanding the metric system outside of the U.S. because why? Because when people travel abroad and they go overseas or wherever, and if you're not understanding what's going on over there, how the heck are you going to understand what's going on over here when nobody's teaching you and giving you the tools to succeed, right? So hence, why are people going out of the search engines and going into Chat GPT, which is basically taking over everything? I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I could tell you one thing. I mean, search engines to me, I think, probably going to get a little bit more information than Chat GPT because that only feeds into what's it's been given and what it's been fed per se, whereas you have facts and data. Again, why do I say all this? Because it ties into, again, customs and being customized, right? So, but now again, the other thing too is how often do you go outside the United States, right? And you visit a foreign country and you get lost in translation. And then, of course, the struggle is, typical American tourist, whatever, right? Okay. So I've had that happen before when I used to go back to the home country in Italy and then I'm walking around or driving around and like
Whoa.
things are right in front of me, but I don't understand it and see it. And of course, you get joked on. And that's cool. I get that. I mean, it's what it is, right? But again, it's how other countries speak. And here's the thing, a lot of other countries, whether it be in Europe, as I use Italy, for example, I mean, there's people there that are speaking 2 to 3 languages, okay, minimum. I mean, it's bad enough that in the US, we're lucky if we actually get to speak English properly, but yet all over the world, you're learning 2 or 3 languages, and God bless, because that's important in life because you're understanding what? Customs, traditions, language, the whole 9 yards. And that is so, so huge in life as well as in business. But now, in taking that into perspective, when you start talking about two types of context, right? High and low. High context is subtle, no gestures, whereas low context tells you what I think, how I feel, getting right to the point, being forthright. And we also have Western and Eastern philosophical, well, let's just say philosophically speaking, we talk about self, right? So we have the Eastern and Western self philosophies, and we have the difference between what? Individualism, right? In the United States, which is basically that's the mentality, as well as collectivism. So, what I'm trying to get a point here is that the differences here are very important because customs, again, here we go with that word again, that's our way of life. Now, to not differentiate the two and to go into business with others outside of your custom, maybe your daily way of life and doing things, but can really, really be a golden business opportunity that you would blow.
Hey,
Why?
you just
Because
got
you're
money.
not getting the understanding, the acknowledgement, and learning about the other side. And this is what it's all about, right? We talk about relationship building, we talk about understanding. Again, that airport mentality and the airport metaphor of when you're going into an airport or into a city, in a country, and you're waiting in line, going through what? Customs, okay? Because that's their way of doing things, right? So at the end of the day, it's important to understand the philosophical terms of self. And we're going to do a deep dive into that on the second half of the show. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for a national and international realtor for your real estate needs? Are you in the market to buy, sell, invest, renting, or leasing? Do you need someone that handles residential, commercial land across the globe? Well, here in Las Vegas, Gianno is in your backyard where he covers Nevada, Arizona, and Mexico. Gianno can help you directly, but wait, if you are outside Gianno's border crossing, getting home sourced has you covered. Because with our partnership group, Gianno is connected worldwide, but not only throughout the US, but like your Visa card. Gianno is everywhere you want him to be. So don't be shy. Call him, email, or even text as he answers the phone every day all day. Then guide you to his partners, because remember, at Getting Home Sourced, Gianno is the source of the source.
Hey, what do you say? What do you say? Thank you so much for sticking around on the second half of Because Why? We're getting customized because I think it's important to really focus here. I know it's, again, we're going to use the term philosophical in the back half of the show. And why not? Because I think in real estate to me is life. Everything intertwines, right? Just like the air we breathe and the trees that we smell and the grass that we walk on. Everything is what? Everything is all about senses and perceptions and how we think and feel based upon those senses and perceptions, right? Well, this is how it ties into customs and customized in our abilities to what? Adapt, learn, overcome, and get over those hurdles that could set us back or push us back, right? So now in business, as I'm using real estate for business part of the show, because obviously it's a real estate show, it's a sales business, right? It's industry. But there's two types of sales approaches that I think is important that I want to cover. Here in the US, we have the inductive sales approach. It's basically, I tell you my conclusions at the start. I give you bullet points. I give you hot graphics. I give you some details. Boom, hard sale. There you go, right? That's a typical US business tactic in how we handle things, right? Now, in Europe, for example, we have the deductive sales approach. So I propose a theory. I provide the tools used to reach a conclusion, and then you, as a consumer, deduce the answer, okay? Or deduct the answer. I like to say deduce, but whatever. So in the US, we have a persuasion style, right? So it's practical. We have applications and we have case studies, whereas the European style is based on thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. So in reading and getting to the point and showing again the difference between the two is that in the US, okay, we're getting to the point, that's it, case closed. Now, verse show your work, that would be European style. So we have two different customs that we have to understand, okay, because it's important to acknowledge and learn. So what? We don't show disrespect to each other. We want to show respect, but most of the times what happens, we show disrespect because it's based on what?
Whoa.
Loss in translation, miscommunication, misunderstandings. And how does that really work out sometimes, right? And then you have to chase down and backpedal just to make things up. And that's really what we try to avoid. Yeah, it happens on a steady basis more so than often, but we want to make sure that respect to each other because we don't want to have that lost in translation feeling because we just feel like frustrated and angry. And this is something that would really cause confusion to set in. And then when that happens, what everybody just shuts down, turn it off, and like say, forget it. I don't want to move forward. We're done with that, right? So
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Here. But what's the reasoning behind all this, you ask, right? Well, I'm so glad you asked that question. So the reason why we talk about this, because inductive reasoning is how, for the U.S. citizens, because of common law, for precedence, for Aristotle, okay, because for all those for the philosopher, and Robert Francis Bacon. Now, for European reasoning, which is deductions, okay, so why is that? Because the teachings of what? Civil law, principles, Rene Descartes, and who else? Friedrich Hegel. So I hope I said that right, or Hegel. So do you see where we're going here, where we falter in a business deal, or even if we marry, let's say, outside of our own culture and customs, and we get into the other side? Because even in negotiating, for example, U.S. citizens and perhaps Northern Europe for that matter, they always want the facts, right? The rest of the world is what? Facts and feelings. They have to touch it. They have to feel it. It's gotta inspire them in some capacity. Because in the U.S., again, the attitude here in the U.S. is that I don't have to like you to work with you, but let's just get the deal done. Here are the facts. Let's get it going. Boom. That's it. But in Europe, okay, they need to have that trust. You need to have that relatability. You want to have that sense of like connection. Okay. Otherwise, forget about it, right, folks? For all my European friends, you know what I'm talking about. So a lot of times here in the US, we kind of, blinders are on. It's like, oh, we beat our chest. US, we're the best. Everybody else, whatever. That's ridiculous because you can't think like that. I mean, because when I go into somebody else's country, again, with Mexico, I try to do the best I can. Customs, I get the information. I want to be respectful. And I, like, again, certain example, like you just can't go down to, let's say, Los Cabos, for instance, where I work, and then just speak English all the time, even though, again, the Mexican people down there, very, very, very intelligent people. Why? Because they take the time to understand, speak, read, write English, whereas most Americans that go down to Los Cabos are just basically English speaking, and that's it. And they try to do some Spanish, but see, at least I go the extra step and I make it my point to speak Spanish, to learn the language to the best of my ability, because I want to show respect. That's showing respect, and that's showing that I understand their customs, and that's the way it should be reciprocal, right? So same thing with U.S. going into, let's say, Europe or Asia or Australia. Well, Australia is English anyway, but you get my point. You have to understand what's going on. And even English speaking, customs, again, whether it be Australia, just to say, for example, New Zealand, even though they're English speaking, but the customs are different. So we have to understand that, right? So at the end of the day, I mean, look, the 80% of the world is relationship based. It's building trust, and it's what? Relatability. So it's funny, isn't it, that, like, say, for instance, again, in retail sales or in just regular sales or offices, what we're told, it's always
Whoa.
about what? Relationship building. Okay, we want to build relationships. We want to see how we can be relatable to somebody and hope that they trust us and like us, because we want to be likable and approachable and all these different things. So you see how this all blends in together. Why? Because it all comes back to what? Customs. So again, this is important, and I think it's understanding for me that when I speak to everybody and you're listening to me, wherever you're listening to, is that I have to be respectful of what your wants and needs are and your wishes, because again, we have different belief systems, we have different customs that we go by. And again, at the end of the day, I think that if we don't take the time to really get to appreciate the other side and we're just kind of focused on our own little bubble, again, and I don't care what you're doing, what kind of business you're in or whatever, it's just not going to work. The same thing in a personal relationship. It just ain't going to work because eventually you're going to have to meet somebody's parents or some type of family members. And if you're not all getting together and you're not all on the same page, guess what? It's ball game over, right? So, and I think again, motivation.
God.
Okay, motivation is another.
Say
So, in
what?
motivating factors, again, I'm going to compare Latin America, for instance, to America because I go down to Mexico a lot. So, I want to kind of give you that example. So, let's say, for instance, in Latin America, family always number one. You have respect. You have value of groups. You have relationships with the leader. You bend the rules for your friends. You have patriotism. You have money and power. You have religious beliefs. You have health and environment. And you have financial options, right? So those are motivating factors that strive Latin American people. Now, here's the kicker here in the U.S. You'll love this. It's always about, it's a me society, right? I hate to say it, but in the U.S., it's a me society. Why? Because every time on social media, what do? It's me, 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 me. It's everything's about me, and I'm the greatest, and this is what I'm saying. So you have to listen to what? Me. So to me, it's like a disease. It's a me disease. And so, again, examples are like, will this help me get a promotion? Will it help me close the deal? Will it make me more attractive? Will it make me happy? Or will it make me liable? Because since we're in a litigious society, am I going to get sued, right? So I hope I don't get sued. So I hope I'm not me being liable, right? So, folks, look, in the end, all I could tell you is that you cannot duplicate experience, brand, personal touch, and what? Customs. Why? Because we're all different. And this is what makes the world go round. But if we take a moment to, as I like to say from a famous author that I was privileged to take pictures with today and meet with today, booked by our famous author, Terry Morrison, if we can kiss, bow, and shake hands, we will see how it not only changes lives, but it changes lives within us. Okay, it changes ourselves. So on that note, I mean, this is where we're at, right? So I just want to thank you all for getting customized first and foremost, because I think it's important to really kind of open our minds and moving forward in life with all the things that are going on and all the stuff and all the minutiae, as I call it. You have to take a step back and just understand that customs and business intertwine. It's so, so important to really appreciate the person wherever you're coming from. Clients that I have that are international, whether you come from India, whether you come from China, whether you come from Europe, or whether you come from South America, it's my job and I have to do everything possible to make you feel comfortable. This is why I'm successful. This is why I meet with international people. This is why I have a lot of international friends listening to the show. You appreciate what I'm saying. You know that I'm getting the message out there, and I get you. And as long as I get you, and as long as you get me, that's what it's all about. And then the excitement factor is when I get to meet with everybody in person. So, and speaking of meeting in person, remember, folks, like I said before, I will be in Cabo November 3rd to November 17th. And again in New York City, I will be there for November 26th to December 6th. I really hope that you guys come out and see me. So, as I like to say again, folks, look, I think that we're changing lives here. We're making a difference. We're getting out there. We're getting customized. And to me, it's my job to bring this to you. I hope that this is something informative to you. And again, don't forget. Don't remember. Yes, I want you to remember. Don't forget, please, please, please reach out to me. Send me an email. Drop me a line. Let me know what's happening with you. Let me know what's happening, how I can help you better. Again, whether it's in real estate here or wherever else. I have a connection base all over the world, folks. I have my, Rolodex or contact list, whatever you want to call it. I'm here for you because as I always say, I'm here and I'm at your service. So again, until next week, take care. God bless. We're going to do it again soon.
You have just listened to Getting Home Sourced with your radio host, Gianno Buonaguro. This podcast is a registered trademark and may not be reproduced without the express written consent of VegasHomeSource.com. For additional information about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, call or text Gianno toll-free at 888-528-2810 or visit his website at vegashomesource.com. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.